So in the last week we have introduced classical theory of diamagnetism. So in this particular lecture we will start classical theory of paramagnetism. Okay, classical theory or the Langevin's theory. Langevin's theory of paramagnetism. Langevin's theory of paramagnetism. Now we have seen what is meant by paramagnetism. Okay, so paramagnetism is basically the spin phenomena. We have seen that in an atomic structure there exists centrally charged nucleus and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in mostly the circular orbits, for example. Okay, and this moving electron, it performs orbital motion, and also it performs spin motion. Okay, now it is the spin motion which is responsible for the paramagnetism. We know that if a particular substance, if the particular atoms of a substance consist of the unpaired electrons, then these unpaired electrons will have permanent magnetic dipole moment. Okay, so every atom in an paramagnetic substance consists of permanent magnetic dipole moment. It is suppose denoted by mu m. Okay, so this is the property of paramagnetic materials, that every atom or molecule will have a permanent magnetic dipole moment. But whenever we will consider the complete substance, then at room temperature the dipole moment of every atom or molecule will be oriented in random direction, and because of thermal agitations also they will be oriented in random direction, and the net effect will be that the total magnetic moment of that particular substance would be zero. So such a substance would not behave like a magnet. Okay, so such a substance will be called as a paramagnetic substance. But when such a substance is kept in the external magnetic field, then in the presence of external magnetic field, some of the dipole moments of some atoms will be aligned in the direction of external magnetic field, and that particular substance will have net magnetic dipole moment in the direction of external magnetic field. So such a substance we will call it as a paramagnetic substance. Now what is the theory behind this origin of the paramagnetism, that we are going to see now. Okay, so Langevin has derived a formula for the paramagnetic susceptibility that we are going to see. Now Langevin, this particular theory is called as a classical theory because we have to make certain assumptions before applying this particular theory. We have to make certain assumptions. Now the assumptions on which this Langevin theory of paramagnetism is based is that paramagnetism is arising only because of the spin motion. Okay, paramagnetism is arising only because of the spin motion. That is the assumption. Okay, here the orbital motion of the electron is totally neglected, because if there is a orbital motion, no doubt there will be the orbital motion, but whenever the orbital motion or orbit is placed in the external magnetic field, it will introduce the diamagnetic effect, and the susceptibility of that diamagnetism is very, very small, and hence we can neglect it. Okay, so diamagnetic effects are totally neglected. Even though they are present, then also we are neglecting the diamagnetic effect. We are only considering the paramagnetic effect, and that is due to and it is assumed that is due to the spin motion of the electron. Okay, and the second assumption on which this theory is based is that the interaction between the spin motion is also negligible. Means, for example, suppose that there is a paramagnetic substance and it consists of large number of atoms or the molecules. And we know that since this is a paramagnetic substance, every atom or molecule will have some dipole moment. Every atom or molecule will have some permanent dipole moment, but at room temperature, because of the thermal agitations, they will be oriented in random direction. Okay, but every atom is having some kind of permanent magnetic dipole moment. This atom is also having some permanent dipole moment. This atom is also having some permanent dipole moment. In this classical theory, it is assumed that paramagnetic substance is composed of gas of the atoms or molecule. Means atoms or molecules exist there in the form of gas. Means it is not a solid substance, it behaves like a gaseous substance. Okay, and in the gaseous system, nearly there is no interaction between the two atoms or two molecules. Okay, so here also we have to assume that the spin of this or the magnetic moment of this atom does not interact with the magnetic moment of this atom. Okay, this interaction is always present there, but we are omitting this interaction for this particular derivation. Okay, so in this classical assumption we are assuming that there is no spin interaction, there is no spin interaction of different atoms or different molecules within that paramagnetic gas. Okay, so spin interaction is neglected. Spin interaction is also neglected. Okay, so only we have to consider the spin motion, and again the interaction between the different spins are also neglected. Okay, so these are the assumptions on which this particular theory is based. Okay, yes. Now in deriving this particular formula for paramagnetic susceptibility, we have to assume that this particular substance, this paramagnetic substance, is made with the help of gaseous atoms or gaseous molecules. Means what? We don't have to consider any solid substance, we have to consider that our substance is just behaving like a gaseous substance. Okay, now when it is behaving like a gaseous substance, there is no interaction of the individual atoms or individual molecules, and therefore we are saying that the spin of this atom is not interacting with the spin of this atom, is not interacting with the spin of this atom. Means what? Every atom or every molecule is nearly free. Every atom or every molecule is nearly free. Now again, when we are considering it as a paramagnetic gas, then Langevin has applied kinetic theory of gases. Kinetic theory of gases, he has applied this particular theory in order to get the derivation, and also at the same time, means he was using the kinetic theory of gases, and at the same time he used the classical statistics in order to derive that particular formula. Okay, so again what we have to keep in mind, that our paramagnetic substance or our paramagnetic gas consists of permanent atomic dipole moment, but at room temperature these atomic dipole moments are oriented in random direction, giving net magnetic dipole moment of that particular substance is equal to 0. But when this substance is placed in the external magnetic field, then some of the magnetic moments will try to get aligned in the direction of external magnetic field. Okay, it will try to get aligned in the direction of external magnetic field, and that will give rise to some magnetization in the direction of external magnetic field. Okay, so let us consider that this is the reference direction, or this is the direction of external magnetic field. Okay, and suppose because of the presence of external magnetic field, our dipole is aligned in the direction of external magnetic field, making an angle theta, because there may be so many dipoles. So we are considering one of the dipole which is making an angle theta with the magnetic field. Okay, now since this is a dipole, okay, suppose that P and Q is the dipole, and this length of the dipole is suppose denoted by twice L. Twice L is the length of the dipole. Okay, now M is the suppose pole strength, small m is suppose pole strength, so the force acting on this end will be M into B, and the force acting on this end will also be M into B. Okay, and we can join this particular length also. So this particular point is suppose Q, and this is right angle triangle. Okay, now if you use the classical statistics, then we can find the number of dipoles which are making an angle of theta to theta plus d theta. Okay, or which are located, means what we are doing, we are finding the number of magnetic dipoles which are located within the angle of theta to theta plus d theta. Okay, so these number of atoms, suppose atoms or molecules, these number of atoms is suppose denoted by dn, then this dn will be proportional to, what is dn? Dn is the number of atoms or number of molecules or number of magnetic dipole moments which are located within the angle of theta and theta plus d theta. So this number of atoms will always be directly proportional to sine theta into d theta. okay, sin theta and d theta. Classical mechanics tells us that these many numbers will be proportional to sin theta into d theta. Again, suppose that energy of every magnetic dipole moment, is suppose given by, because of the law of equipartition of energy, we know that this energy will be e raised to power minus e over kb into t, where E is the potential energy of the dipole moment and Kb is the Boltzmann constant and T is the absolute temperature. Okay, so this is the energy of single atom or single molecule or single magnetic dipole moment, and therefore the energy associated with these many numbers will be this factor multiplied by this number. So it will be E raised to power minus E over Kb into T. Okay, and right, so these many numbers will be proportional to this factor. Now if we want to remove this proportionality sign, then this dn will be equal to, so if I want to remove this proportionality sign, I would have to introduce one constant, and suppose that constant is denoted by a letter C, capital C. So it is C into e raised to power minus e over kb into t into sin theta into d theta. Okay, so this is the expression for dn, that is number of atoms or molecules which are located within the angle of theta to theta plus d theta. Okay, now what is the torque acting on this dipole? Because this dipole is making an angle theta, so magnetic field will try to align this dipole along its direction. Okay, so there will be the torque acting on this particular molecule or dipole moment, and that torque will be equal to m into b, that is pole strength, okay, into this distance, okay, into this distance, that is, this is actually r, okay, into the distance qr. And if you find out qr, see this angle is theta, therefore this angle is also theta, and in this angle what is sin theta? Sin theta will be opposite, that is qr divided by hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is twice L, so qr will be equal to m into b twice L into sin theta, twice L into sin theta. So if you see, m is the pole strength, twice L is the length of the dipole. This is nothing but magnetic moment. This is nothing but the magnetic moment, and I am writing mu m for the magnetic moment, that is m into twice L. So it is mu m into b into sin theta. Okay, this is a d tau, small torque acting on the one dipole. Okay, now I can find out what is the potential energy of this dipole. Okay, what is the potential energy of the dipole? Now this potential energy of the dipole is E, and E is equal to integration of this tau, d tau or tau, okay, whatever, I can use any kind of symbol. So d tau into d theta, d tau into d theta. And now what should be the limits? Limit would be pi by 2 to theta, pi by 2 to theta. Why pi by 2 to theta? Because when the maximum energy will be required by the magnetic field on the dipole, when the dipole is exactly perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Okay, so when the dipole is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, maximum energy will be required to align this dipole along its particular length. Okay, so that angle I have put here, and on which angle it is aligned right now? It is aligned to an angle of theta, therefore I have used the upper limit as theta. Okay, now d tau into d theta, so this is pi by 2 to theta, and here mu m into b sin theta into d theta. Okay, sin theta into d theta. So this mu m into b, this is constant. Integration of sin theta is cos theta. Limits are pi by 2 to theta. Okay, so upper limit minus lower limit, it will be minus mu mb cos theta. Okay, upper limit will be cos theta, so it is minus mu mb cos theta minus lower limit cos pi by 2. Cos pi by 2 is 0, so that will be 0. Okay, so this will be the expression for potential energy of a dipole in the magnetic field. potential energy of a dipole in a magnetic field. And therefore our this equation, that is dn now becomes, dn is equal to c into e raised to power minus e. So minus minus will get plus. So instead of e, mu m b cos theta divided by kb into t, and here sin theta d theta, sin theta d theta. Now what I will do, I will put a new constant instead of this particular factor, mu m into b divided by kbt. I will put this as small a. Okay, so this will be equal to c into e raised to power a cos theta, okay, sin theta d theta. This is dn. So these are the number of atoms or molecules which are aligned within the angle of theta to d theta. Now for a in presence of magnetic field, when the dipoles are oriented in a random direction, which type of orientation they should take? Okay, in presence of magnetic field, they should be either aligned to the magnetic field, or they should be, means they should be making either angle 0, or maximum they should be making an angle of pi. Okay, they should be aligned in this direction or in this direction. So if I want to find out total number of dipole moments or total number of atoms or molecules whose dipole moments are aligned within the magnetic field, okay, so that number would be, total number would be given by n, and then I will have to integrate it from 0 to pi. Okay, c into e raised to power a cos theta sin theta d theta. Now how to solve this? So let us put cos theta is equal to x. In this expression, let us put cos theta is equal to x. So integration, differentiation of cos, it is minus sin theta d theta is equal to dx. It means that sin theta d theta is equal to minus dx. Okay, now let us put all these quantities. Capital N would be equal to, yes, now I have replaced theta by a different letter x, different variable x. Okay, now the limits will also be changed. Okay, so in this particular case, cos theta is equal to x, therefore when theta is equal to 0, cos 0 is equal to 1. So integration lower limit will be, instead of 0 I will have to write 1, and when cos pi is equal to minus 1, therefore x is equal to minus 1. So it is 1 to minus 1. Okay, and again c e raised to power a into cos theta. So instead of cos theta I will have to put x. So a into x, and sin theta d theta. Sin theta d theta is equal to minus dx. Okay, so it is minus dx, and again I don't want this minus sign, therefore I can reverse the limits. So it is minus 1 to plus 1. Earlier it was 1 to minus 1 with a minus sign. Now I want to remove this minus sign, so I will reverse the limits, minus 1 to 1. Okay, c into e raised to power ax into dx, and its integration is very simple. C is equal to e raised to power ax divided by a, and limits would be minus 1 to plus 1. So c by a, I will take this a into the denominator of c. Okay, e raised to power ax with upper limit and lower limit. So e raised to power x minus e raised to power a with upper limit minus e raised to power minus a with a lower limit. Okay, so this is the expression for total number of atoms or molecules which are aligned within the angle of 0 to pi, within the angle of 0 to pi in the direction of magnetic field. Okay, now from this expression we can get the value for c. C is equal to n into a divided by e raised to a minus e raised to minus a. Okay, now this is c. Okay, now in this particular case, what we have assumed that our dipole moment is aligned between the angle of 0 or pi, but we know that it is not possible. It is not possible for every dipole to get aligned in the direction of magnetic field. Okay, it will be making some kind of angle. Okay, it may be making some kind of angle with the direction of magnetic field. So if mu m, means suppose mu m is the magnetic moment associated with the dipole, in the direction of magnetic field. in the direction of magnetic field. Okay, but we know that this will not be the case, means yes, we know that this will not be the case. It will be oriented at some particular angle, and therefore actual dipole moment in the direction of magnetic field, actual dipole moment in the direction of magnetic field would be mu m into cos theta, because it will be making some kind of angle. So see, this is particular dipole, okay, and it is not aligned with the direction of magnetic field exactly. It is making some kind of angle, that is theta. So what is its component along the direction of magnetic field? So its component will be, this particular length will be mu m into cos theta. If this is mu m, so this will be mu m into cos theta. Okay, so this will be the mu m into cos theta. That will be the component of the magnetic moment in the direction of magnetic field, in the direction of magnetic field. Now what will be the magnetization? Okay, now you see the component of magnetic moment in the direction of magnetic field will be given by mu m into cos theta. Okay, so the magnetization in the direction of magnetic field is suppose given by capital M. So capital M would be how much? This is the component of the magnetization. This is the component of the magnetization of one atom. This is the component of the magnetization of one atom in the direction of magnetic field. Okay, now the component of the magnetization by all the atoms in the direction of magnetic field is nothing but the magnetization. So this is the component of magnetization by one atom, that is mu m into cos theta. This m is suffix, this mu m into cos theta, that is the component of magnetization by one atom or one dipole. I want the component of magnetization by all the dipoles or by all the atoms. So how many atoms I am having? I am having dn number of atoms. I am having dn number of atoms. Okay, so these many number of atoms are there within the angle theta, and how many total number of atoms are there? If I integrate this particular equation, then I will be getting total number of atoms which are making some angle, which are oriented within the angle of 0 to pi, okay, in that particular system. So the limits will be 0 to again pi. Okay, so magnetization m will be equal to integration of 0 to pi mu m into cos theta into dn. Now in this equation, let us put the value of dn then. Let us put the value of dn. So it is 0 to pi. Okay, so mu m into cos theta dn. Just now we have found out the value for dn. Okay, dn will be this thing, c into e raised to power minus e over, not minus e because we have found out the value of e. So instead of that, what I will have to write? I will have to write this thing. Okay, mu m b cos theta divided by kbt, and again mu m b divided by kbt. For this I have put another letter a, and therefore here it will be a cos theta. A cos theta, like this, e raised to power a cos theta, and again sin theta into d theta, sin theta into d theta. Okay, again same job. Let us put cos theta. Cos theta is equal to x. So if I put cos theta is equal to x, just now I have found out sin theta into d theta is equal to minus dx. Okay, and limits would be this thing, 1 to minus 1. Limits would be 1 to minus 1. Okay, so it will be magnetization m would be, it is equal to integration of 1 to minus 1. Okay, limits would be from 1 to minus 1, and here it is mu m. Instead of cos theta is equal to x into c I will take out of the integration, into e raised to power a cos, not cos theta, I will have to use a letter x, a into x, and sin theta d theta is equal to minus dx. Okay, so sin theta d theta is equal to minus dx, but I am not writing minus sign. I will just reverse the sign of these limits, upper limit and the lower limits. Okay.